Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello, hello.
Evening.
Howdy.
All righty. Mr. Redmond, how are you, sir?
I'm good, buddy. Sorry I missed your call today.
No, it's all cool. I was just stuck in traffic behind the tanker truck that spilled 7,000 gallons of diesel fuel on 285 right by my exit.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, all lanes 285 between the Decatur exit and the Memorial exit were shut down.
Well, if it was in a tanker truck, they've already paid their federal excise taxes, so we're good with that.
He took down one of the the highway signs, the ones that go across the highway. He slammed into the pole and ripped that down. So,
Oh,
good
baby.
Good times. And I was all excited because I got out of work early and then got home at the same time I would have gotten home had I left at the right time. So
Right.
All righty. We got a couple more people coming in. Let's give them like a minute, Gordon, and then we can get this thing started.
All right. So I've got an 8 o'clock, so I can hang out till then.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too long. We're just trying to cover dates and round up the usual suspects.
Okay.
Righty. Alrighty. Well, we got 31. So Gordon, you wanna get us started here?
Sure. Let me grab. If you give me some screen share and stuff, and I'll.
Oh yeah.
As I'm doing that. All right. So I hope everybody is doing well, and we're well past the full meat of the season. Now we're envisioning at least getting into postseason. So hooray, we've made it this far. Hopefully that continues. So what I've got for you today is a brief deal, but I hope will be valuable. Let me get view. There we go. Present. All right. So we've got a little bit here on rule myths and video reviews. Some of these are rule myths that have been the case since I started officiating, even since I started playing. They refuse to die. So this is my attempt, at least, for us to continue getting these to go away. And then a little bit on video review. We've got 3 clips in particular we're going to be looking at. 2 are primarily safety. The last one we'll be looking at is going to be a mistake from myself and my crew that we did not realize until we got video review. So we're going to be framing some stuff. If you guys have not muted yourself since we are recording this, please mute yourself, or Greg, handle muting people. All right, there we go. All right. Yes, better? Cool. All right, and I'll make sure I get my chat bit. So we good?
I'm locating the culprit.
Okay. All right, there we go. As usual, if you got questions, type into the chat box. We'll kind of roll from here. But these are the ones that have either gotten asked to our rules interpreter, Jeremy, have found their way to Greg or myself, or just stuff that we've kind of heard through the grapevine that is useful things here. So here's an interesting one. Red ran from beyond 5 yards and body checked white. That must be an illegal body check. This is wrong. This interpretation is incorrect. And it's a worse explanation to give to a coach, because what happens is this goes down to your partner, or it goes to the rules interpreter, or it goes to the GLOA trainers or somebody on the board, and it's like, I didn't understand that this was a rule. And the coach or person who's upset is correct, because this is not a rule. The only thing that we worry about when it comes to a yardage thing is the person getting hit is 5 yards away from a loose ball, or you 3 yards away, right? But 5 yards is our bit there. So I like to take a logical extreme to kind of illustrate this point. Somebody could conceivably, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but could run 95 yards across the field, slow down enough, and make appropriate body contact, body check to a player with possession or with a loose ball within 5 yards. That's entirely possible, right? That's okay. Similarly, a player could run from 4 yards away and annihilate a player. Seen that happen just as well. So the yardage thing there, the steps away or the 2 seconds after a pass, none of that, right? Eliminate those from your vocabulary, because when that is said to a coach, it creates some unnecessary confusion, and it leads to really perplexing questions that get sent to our rules interpreters. So if you're going to go ahead and do this, when you say, like, I'm going to throw a flag for an illegal body check or unnecessary roughness, they're kind of interchangeable in that space. It's a hit from beyond 5 yards from where the ball is, right? So if that ball is within 5 yards, I usually call that unnecessary roughness. I can sell that a little bit more easily, but you can't just say he ran more than 5 yards, so it's illegal. That is not the case. Okay, this is one of my personal favorites because it always gets yelled at to us. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't in this case. If you have a broken cross anywhere on the field, a player can choose one of these two options. They're not required to do one or the other. They can run off with this pieces broken, or they can drop them there and run off. The common thing here is that they have to run off and they can't get involved in the play. Okay, so they got to take the long way around if that thing is somewhere in the sub area or whatnot. They just can't get involved in the play. You're going to hear one coach or one whole side of the stands going, he's got to drop his stick, or he's got to carry the pieces off. Both are kind of true. You can do either one. They just can't get involved in the play. That's kind of the key one to remember on this. One courtesy thing and also a preventative safety thing is sometimes a player, if they break the stick, might run off, but they might only have like the one piece they're still holding on to. If it's within your spacing, you can run up, you can grab that bottom piece, you can go over to the sideline, you can drop it off, along the track or something, or hand the broken piece to a coach, kind of depending on what's what. That prevents you from having to possibly kill a play if play starts getting near that broken piece of stick or cross. So just things to keep in mind, facilitate that game. And then since we are doing, and collegiate guys, we're moving from collegiate rules, NCAA to NFHS. One of the ones that kind of gets a little bit weirded out here is a rule myth, is that the goalie only gets 5 seconds to get back into the crease on shots out of bounds. It's partially correct. That's one of the things. But the goalie in NFHS rule games gets 5 seconds to re-enter the crease on any restart, anywhere, for any reason whatsoever. Okay, so that's not a penalty if he doesn't get in there. It's not a flag. I made that mistake many years ago, or a turnover or whatnot. But that's just you've got the hand in the air. He starts running. Usually it's a busted clear. 1, 2, 3. Once you get to 5, if he's in the crease, we're good. We restart it. If we get to 5 and he's outside the crease, we just blow the whistle. Right? He gets a 5-second head start in NFHS rule games on any restart. Right? Not just shots out of bounds. Okay, that's kind of the stuff rules wise to put away. Now, kind of the more of the meat of what I was asked to talk about here. So video review. So what are we actually trying to do in game? It's safety and it's fairness, right? It never changes. We cannot repeat this often enough, right? That's the purpose in game, safety, fairness. So a thing I want to stress to everybody who's on this call, whether you've been observed by a certified observer or not, if you've been to a Laredo clinic 2 or 3 or not, there's one consistent in observations. This is in lacrosse and also across pretty much every sport, is that the observer does not critique judgment calls because they're judgment calls, right? if I'm the observer in a game, I'm usually at best 50 yards away, and I'm not always at the best angle because I'm stationary and I might be writing something down. I am not focused on the look because, yeah, that's what the on-field official's job is. So in game, it's safety and fairness. I tend to write a lot of questions. Guys who might have been observed by me will know that I ask a lot of questions because I'm trying to gain clarity on what was seen or not. What we see in observations and what we see in video review is evidence of officials who are not looking in the correct place or looking in some spot for too long based off of how the play is developing. So these are opportunities, one, to get solid on your foundational mechanics and awareness levels, and then also take a step above that in terms of did we actually get the call right? And if not, how can we adjust those baseline foundational mechanics to get us to be better, right? So I'm going to look at two safety clips here, ones that we need to have a flag on, and we'll talk about why. And then we'll break down a mistake from myself and my crew from about a month and a half ago. So I'll try to play this a few times. There we go. This happens pretty darn fast. I am going to try, I'll play this bit again because I know we might buffer. See if I can't get this at the right moment. Okay. I've been breaking down film for a lot of years. This is the first clip in maybe 8 years that I've seen that is the clearest example of spearing by the offense in a game. That is absent a scrum, that is clearly just the offensive player lowering the crown of his helmet and barreling through the helmet or chest of the opposing defender. This is a split second. This is a blink and you miss it, or you put your head down, you're going to miss this contact. And this is dangerous contact. Okay, this is not so much really for the defender, but for the offensive player lowering his head. That's a lot of stress on the neck, on the vertebra in the spine. This is just could lead to such traumatic injury for the individual lowering his head. So this is one of those things that we have to kill immediately, throw the flag, and assess a spear. You can call it spearing, you can call it a check to the head or neck. 2 minutes locked in at minimum, NFHS rules. So this one again, I'll play this again on this bit. So again, just watch this. We can call this from anywhere. I don't care who throws the flag. This is a good crew saver call. This is a two-person crew game, which makes this even a little bit more difficult because it starts in that overlap area. But this is a player just steamrolling him. This is not a bull dodge. This is a dangerous ward with the crown of the head, which is a spear, which is safety related, which is a flag. All right, so this is one of those things that we've got to be able to get. But is one where if you start seeing a player, especially if you may have a size differential here, which is a little bit in this case, but if you start seeing a player take the ball out and you know he's going to go ISO and you're the trail official, make that player your entire world. That's all you have to worry about, because all that kid really wants to do is dodge and shoot. Right? Everybody else is kind of way off to the side. So once you recognize that player is going on an isolation dodge, just focus on that player as the trail. This is the kind of a contact that we need to be able to flag and flag immediately in a game. Okay, next one up here, you're going to look more toward the girls' arc right by the crease. We're going to see a shot, and then we're going to see some contact in a three-person crew game. I'll play this a few times as well. Okay, so we've got a pretty heavy hit here. From this angle right here, the part I paused at, I'm gonna try to get the next frame, but this is a check that starts legal. This is probably one of the more difficult ones to go with because we need to see the entire story start to finish. This is going to be one where it's going to be the trail official who's probably going to be in best position to make this call. Right, the lead is watching that player curl around the crease. The single is, in this case, he's a little sucked out. but he's also watching feet, body around the crease. The contact here comes from a bit of an unexpected angle, the way this play rolls out. So the trail's the best one in this three-person crew to get this contact. And we have to stay with this player for the entire time, because what happens, let me go here. See, I just got to pause it just. Okay. So what happens is the hands punch up. They punch up into the head, and this player just collapses onto the ground. And I did the video, the full-on video. There was an extended dead ball while the trainer came out, and this kid's out for a little while. He's doing concussion protocol, as he should, right? That's good there. But we have an official's timeout for an injury. There's a flag down on this play. The officials assessed a 2-minute non-releasable check to the head or neck, perfectly where we need to be at minimum. Right, at minimum for this, that's where we have to start. But this is one where, again, this is a kind of a blink and you miss it situation. If you're so focused on the body, right, and you've got that initial contact and you go, that's fine, and then you start looking away, you're going to miss the hands punching up into the forehead in the head or neck area, and you start seeing that force of contact. That player is already losing his footing. This guy put everything he could into this hit, and he did a poor trajectory. Right, so this is a type of penalty right in front of the crease where he's just trying to clear the crease, but he's doing it in a fashion that is unsafe and illegal because it's going up high, right? So keep your eyes on those hands and watch where they finish, right? You got to see the entire start to finish story there. Greg, do we have anything in chat question-wise, or am I good? Oh, I see a question here. How did this check start legal? His hands or shoulder? Let me kind of go off on this one. Actually, yeah, good check. Good catch. So this is what happens when I watch too much dang film. So actually, yeah, this check is, so I'll rephrase. This check starts at a legal body position. The hands are still far apart, right? This far apart. We've got his bottom hand there on one end of the body, his top hand's on the other end. At minimum, this has to be a cross check. But he finishes this thing up here. So you can go cross-check targeting the head or neck, or cross-check contact to the head or neck. But yes, this is also one of those things where you're going to have a cross-check as the trail. More than likely, you'll have the flag out for that. But if you don't watch and finish where the hands are going, then we have, we're missing contact that does need to be flagged. Good catch on that. Yes. Okay. So this brings us to the main point of video review. Were we right? Were we correct? Did we get it right? That's the entire point. I've watched more video than I probably did this season than I did ever at USL, usually because I'm doing them in the off season. But when we're doing video review, when things get sent to the board, either it is a coach who's legitimately questioning something, or it's somebody who's genuinely upset about a specific situation. We don't just watch that specific situation. We watch the entire game. Because that's how we get the sense of the context of the entire call, no call, whatever the deal is. And so this one is from one of my games earlier this season. It's Walton Mill Creek. Now, I'm going to play this clip for you first. I'll give it through 2 times just because I know things buffer. But just so to give you a heads up, I am the single side official toward the middle of your screen there. So I'll play this twice, and then I'll talk you through what my partner and I discussed. All right, let's do it again. Okay, so I had a crease violation. Players' feet were aiming my direction. So in a 3-person crew, feet, I have crease, right? Or going to crease. I'm looking at the feet. Partner has the body, right? That's where the flag is coming in for signifying that there's a push of some kind that happened here. So I come into my partner, we chat, and this is the gist of our conversation. I said, I have the player stepping in the crease because he jumped. Okay, so now we know 2 things there. Number 1, we cannot possibly ever actually have a goal. I had the player jumping, right? Leaving his feet of his own volition. He might as well have dove, right? That's one bit. Landing in the crease, now I absolutely know there's no goal, right? Can't possibly happen. Now we get the second piece of information. My partner, I had him pushed while he was in the air. Okay, got it. So we don't have a goal. We've got the push. So we're going to wipe the goal. We're going to assess the push, and we're going to restart play 6 on 5. Right? That's how that sequence tracks out. That's what I relayed to my trail official. Trail official relays that to the bench. We get it all figured out. Now, one team, the team in white, not happy that they don't have a goal, but happy that they're man up, right? Now, the question is, did we get this correct? Now, the coach had a crease violation question from something earlier in the game that got sent in. And I'm like, I'm curious. I want to check this out. So again, watch the entire game film. And then I realized something. We got this play incorrect. So we'll play this again. Got a feed, jump, catch. There's a push in here. This is a curious sequence, right? So I'm going to break this down a little visually. Okay. This is the player jumping into the air to catch the ball. He doesn't have possession yet. He's jumping up to catch it, right? Then we had the player landing outside the crease. During this, he's actually kind of moving a little bit, like he's trying to keep his angle on the goal as he's getting shoved from behind. So he's doing actually everything he possibly can to stay out of the crease. Good on him. Okay. Here's where he's actually in the crease. What you don't see, what's not visible on video, but I can remember distinctly, is his inside foot touching the crease on this little tap dance. Okay. So we have a jump and a catch, a land, a tap, 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 touch the crease, push. Okay. So now we have the push. There's a shot. We don't care about the shot because we had the crease violation anyway. So that we don't have to worry about. But now we have this push that we have to deal with, right? And I'm coming in now. My partner's coming in for that flag. So the conversation needed to go like this. I run in, I know I have a crease call. I know that, but we have to determine, was that really a jump when he had possession and in his shooting motion, and then he gets pushed? Or did the crease violation happen first after he landed from catching the pass? Then he gets pushed on the dead ball, and now we don't have anything. This is complicated as heck, right? This is a mess. And I'll tell you, my partners and I, after the game, were like, we felt good. Like the whole freaking game, we reffed a solid game. And we felt especially good about this play until I watched this on video review. And I'm like, son of a gun, we did not get this correct. We took not enough time actually going through the entire sequence because I knew I had a crease violation and a jump in there. And then I see my partner's flag. So I go, oh, let's see what this is all about. Oh, I just made an incorrect assumption. Push into the crease when the guy had jumped earlier. So we're going to put red a man down and wipe the goal, put white a man up. What should have actually happened, according to the sequence of events that the video bears out, is crease violation and nothing. We have a crease violation, bang, bang play. So there might have been a flag for a push. That can be waived. That's okay. These things happen, right? This isn't a player getting a conduct. He's just trying to play lacrosse. But what I needed to do, had I talked this through appropriately with my partner, was, oh, the crease violation happened before all of this. It wasn't him jumping and then getting pushed. So I'd have to go out and say, no goal. Crease violation happened before that push. That was on the dead ball. It's actually going to be red's ball now clearing. Okay. This is a massively complicated series of events that I'm upset that I got wrong, but video review and really analyzing this situation, remembering what I talked through with my partner, realizes like, okay, got this wrong in season or in this particular game. I'm much more apt to, if I have a weird tight crease situation that isn't quite so cut and dry at first glance, let's slow down. Because we did rush the conversation a little bit from my memory. Let's slow down and really space out this sequence here, which is tough to do because everyone's kind of, you feel like that everyone's breathing down your neck. Now, how could we have made this call easier on us? Notice, my partner's actually in probably the best position here as the lead official. on this particular bit of contact. He's about a half step below there. I am way too far out of position. I need to be inside the hash marks on this particular play. What I didn't realize was this player sneaking around the goal, so I didn't catch him in time. And then there was a quick pass, screen pass all the way through the middle of the field, which is rare. But I allowed this kind of the offense to kind of suck me into a little bit of lack of attention, and this kid snuck up on me. And as a result, we get this play incorrect. Now, I'm glad we didn't have a goal called here because that wasn't going to happen no matter what. But I needed to be inside the hash marks in a 3-person crew in this particular situation. And this is stuck in my head since that a month and a half ago, and that's what I've worked to do. So if we get video review, if we get breakdowns of things that coaches are unhappy about, or a partner just wants to get another look at something, again, we'll look at the whole game and then we'll take a specific look at what we're talking about. But the key thing here is, did we get it correct? Did we get it right? That's the purpose of video review. I'm not here to, I'm not going to say like I got a crease violation call wrong or my partner got a push wrong. That's not what we're here for. Those are the judgment calls. Did we get the sequence and the application correct? In this case, no. Right? In other cases, maybe. Generally, when we get sent film, something went a little bit awry. So the thing to keep in mind here is look for the things that you could have done a little bit better. At minimum, I need to be at the hash marks. At better, I'm recognizing that kid sneaking around the goal and that's their better shooter. I need to really be crashing in because he's going to be coming my way very shortly after a catch. And I would have put myself in a better position to be closer and probably see that sequence in a better space. So the key
Gordon,
thing
real
about
quick
video
question.
review, one sec, key thing about video review I'll hit up on this one is, I'm just going to leave this up here and then, ask your thing. Not about us. Video review is trying to figure it out for the game. Okay, that's the big way I want to frame this. Go ahead.
So you were criticizing your position in that play, but if you go back to the previous pass, the top right attackman or midfielder who had possession was outside or right there at the 20.
Mm-hmm.
If you're single side positioning right, if I'm not mistaken, you want to keep the players in front of you because on single you've got, if the ball goes out position wise, right?
Yes.
You want to be out there to that extended midfielder or attackman if they take it far out. So you've got the end line or the out of bounds line.
Yes.
You had no anticipation of him going from top right to basically lower left on goal line extended.
Right. I didn't, and I needed to. So I'll tell you why on this one. Looking at this play. So again, we're talking about areas of probability that we have to worry about. The goal is more important than the sideline more often than not. And we're paid in a 3-man game to make sure we get goals correct, crease calls correct, right? The sideline stuff, yes, we're going to get because we have that official over there. But generally, schools pay for an extra official for safety calls getting called where they need to be all the time, and then calls around the crease. Second bit is I've got plenty of space to get to the sideline wherever I need to in this particular play. He's out here. Nothing's going to happen that I can't react to get quickly to the sideline very easily. That's fine. In this particular bit, I'm actually a little bit inside of him because I know he actually has to run around me. I've got space to get away from him if I need to back out to the sideline. Right about here is when I needed to realize I'm kind of zeroed in on this guy, and I needed to have an eye on that sneaking player in the back there. At this point in time, I need to be at the hash marks, is where I'm saying. So if I actually got there, I'd have a much better, right now I have a very straight line view to the player's feet. If I was at the top hash marks at even the 10 or the 9, I'm looking down at his feet and a much better position to be able to see that entire sequence of events. So right here, I'm recognizing this was an oh crap moment where I'm like, I got to get in a little bit. I don't have a lot of room. That's why I do I was here the entire time cheat, run in with the signal. But what's happening on this end is recognizing this kid is only going to run the ball somewhere in my area of the field. He can't pass it anywhere. Everybody else is in front of me. And the most dangerous player that he can pass it to is now this one player who got lost or who lost his defender. So this is where I got to realize now, what's more likely? Are we more likely to have a sideline out of bounds play? No, I'm more likely to have something happening near the crease. So I've got to adjust my positioning accordingly. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Sweet. Other things. All right. So just remember, guys, again, the big one on this one is not here to ding you, right? I just spent the last 12 minutes excoriating myself for your benefit. The idea here is we thought we did everything correctly or close enough, and we did not at the end of the day. And that's okay. That's what video review is for. And that is the purpose. That's what we do, especially when I break down film, but anybody on the GLOA board or certified observers who get sent a game film is like, hey, we want to look at this. Or if you get an email from Clyde being like, hey, check this play out, go ahead and watch it. But don't get into a space just like, I'm going to watch this to defend my call or no call. Take yourself out of it. Imagine you are the observer on the game and just being like, all right, let's see if we can find anything here that is worth talking about. And I hope I gave you guys a good example that you can model from. All right, that's my spiel.
Yeah, and Gordon, I would add that when you're watching video, the first thing that anybody watching the video is going to say is, are you in the right spot? Right? Are you hustling to be in position? Are you looking at what you're supposed to be looking at?
And here's the thing, and to go to Ryan's point, I'm actually in pretty good position, right? I'm happy with that, sure, but the play changed. And I wasn't in the best position for the changing play. So there's a difference between being mechanically textbook on point, which we can do. That gets us into the best spot to generally watch like 95% of the plays. This was a 5%er kind of play. This is the kind of play that I want to make sure I get right come playoff time or when teams are getting chopped off because of a close 1-goal, decisions. So it's not about just like I can give myself and my crewmate in that lead spot a thumbs up for being like, hey, we're in the right position, but we could have been in a slightly better position if we were a little bit more aware of what was going on. That's the point of video review.
Gordon, one other thing too is you've got a dead ball after he steps in the crease, so the play is dead, no goal. But you could still, depending on the severity of that hit, and you were there, so you could speak to this. But if it was severe, you could have gone a legal body check or unnecessary roughness on a dead ball with a flag. But it apparently wasn't severe enough, so
it wasn't. Yeah, it's a good point on that one. That was a push's push at game speed and also for that game. That was actually a pretty well played game all the way through. That wasn't where I would want to start an illegal body check flag. But if we were having problems, certainly we could have gone that route if need be, or if things were getting chippier on that, and that certainly could have gone that way. But for that particular game in that instance, wasn't needed. No.
Yeah. That was I had my hand up too, and that was my question, Gordon. I wanted to hear more about that contact because if it was bad enough to be a push, I guess the circumstances were different when the guy ended up in the crease than when it was just what you call lacrosse contact.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is on that, like
that would, it's almost like you have to treat it as if it happened somewhere else on the field.
Yeah, it's as bang bang as you get for a push near the crease. And by the time I was even blowing my whistle, that's when the kid was meeting the guy's body. He was playing lacrosse, right? He just happened to be, if we had assessed the penalty sequence correctly, he would have been the beneficiary of a previous crease violation. And me personally, I don't call pushes on dead balls. I call conduct fouls if I need to. And that wasn't what that player had earned in that particular instance in that game. That wasn't a player we had problems with. We actually hadn't had any problems like that. So for the context of that game, not necessary on that space. It was two players meeting. One player just happened to hit the crease, and me being late and running away or running in from a distance with the whistle, all that contributes to I don't feel comfortable throwing a flag on a kid for something that is ultimately I could have whistled a little bit sooner.
Yeah, and Gordon, I think this also speaks to, read Rule 7, mistakes by officials. Like, when can you fix stuff? When can't you fix stuff? Know what your options are. I screwed up an in and out earlier this year where it had gone from a 4-goal to a 5-goal differential, and I was so zeroed in on get it in, keep it in. I killed it when the kid stepped in and out. and I hurried. I immediately awarded AP. I shouldn't have. A team was in possession when I had an inadvertent whistle. They keep possession, and my crew recognized it and they killed it. And when I figured out that I had screwed up, I went running over to the coach who was going to keep the ball. And I was like, you keep the ball. And I turned and I ran to the other coach, like, coach, that was me. I screwed that up. This is why I screwed it up. And this is how you fix it. But you know, when we're wrong, we got to admit that we're wrong and know what our options are. So, you know, for you younger guys who are moving up, and even for your older guys, like, knowing what to do when you screw up is really important. You gotta know what your options are and when you can fix it. You know, don't try to bluff your way out of it. That usually gets you into more trouble. Pat, did you have anything with big dates and you know, assigning issues that you want to touch on before we let guys go?
Besides, I need like another 20 guys for this next Friday and Saturday. No.
Yeah. So other than that,
No, besides that, I just want to thank everyone for all the last minute stuff. It is going to continue because I realize soccer playoffs are starting later this week, or regional playoffs or something with soccer. So I would expect more last minute changes. We still have some holes for Friday and we got a bunch of holes for Saturday. So you'll see assignments over the next day or two. If you don't have anything for Saturday and you want games, just email me. I will say too, emailing all three assigners is the best way to get a hold of us. A lot of people like to text message, but when I get 15 text messages in a matter of 20 minutes, they get lost. So obviously, if you know, I'll try to respond. You might get a faster response if you email all three of us instead of trying to send a text message. That's the only thing I ask. Again, I appreciate everyone's help so far this year. We got a few more weeks. The next, from here on out, especially on Saturdays, we're going to have stuff because our first end of season, start of summer tournament starts next Saturday. So we actually have one this Saturday too. So we're going to have tournaments basically from this weekend through all the way through right before Memorial Day weekend. So we're about to ramp up some more. So and I think high school regular season, we got another 13 days, I think it is. And then playoffs start that last week of April. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. You guys have any questions, please let me know. The other thing too is, remember, let's fill out the incident reports for anything that abnormal happens. You got any questions, just let us know.
yeah, the other thing I'd add is if you get an email from the referee, you know, talking about where you're meeting and what's going on, always copy everybody, like copy your partners on this. It's hard enough to track who's going where and what stadium you're going to and what game you got. I'm trying to plan about 15 minutes ahead for some of these weeks. But respond to your partners so that everybody's kind of on the same page, so that we know where we're showing up. It just makes it a lot easier. And if we've got an email chain going, don't start a text chain. You know, we don't need letters and you know, smoke signals and 4 other means of communication to talk about where we're meeting in the parking lot. Just respond to emails and keep everybody in the loop. It makes it a lot easier. Anybody got anything else? Questions, situations?
Now's the time to ask weird stuff.
I'll bring one up that we did it right, but it was too slow. And we had a situation where it's a transition play. Guys are coming across midfield. The team in with the ball is 15 goals ahead. And suddenly the coach calls for a timeout. So my first, well, of course I'm counting. And when he called timeout, I counted again. And I found that he was offsides. And this probably happens to happens all the time when you, in a situation like that and a coach calls a timeout, you pretty much know that there's going to be they're offsides. So the lead, I was trail, lead granted the timeout. And then I ran in and said, you can't have it. You were offsides. I said, excuse me. I said, you're not entitled to a timeout here. You were offsides. Actually, and then I thought about it. I said, no, you are entitled to a timeout here, but you are offside. So you're not going to get I'm going to take the ball away.
Yeah.
And it was sloppy. It was a little bit messy, but it was, I think, the right, the right interpretation of the rule. It's just that it was a little slow. And all I'm pointing out here is when a coach calls timeout in a situation like that, when they got a comfortable lead, and go ahead and count again, because they're probably offsides.
Yeah, he's calling a timeout in a situation where you're not expecting him to call a timeout. Yeah. All right, guys. If nobody else has any questions, have a good rest of the week. Looks like it's actually going to be nice. So thanks for joining us. We'll put this up on the website, and yeah, stay safe and be well, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks very much.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.